Hey there, guys. So today we're going to review the cell theory. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of create the timeline again, and then we'll talk about the different parts that were created to make up the modern cell theory. Okay, so we're going to start off with 1665, right, which was the first year that um, cells were named and discovered by Robert Hooke. Right, so Robert Hooke looked at a piece of cork, and he was the first to name cells. Right, and remember, he did this by looking at a cork. Okay. So we give him the credit for coming up with the name cell. Right. Okay. Then years later, in the 1670s, you had Anton van Leeuwenhoek, who was the first to describe what we know as a unicellular organism. Okay. And then years later, in 1838, right, and 1839, you had Schleiden, who said that plants were made of cells. And then you also had Schwann, who then said animals were made of cells. Okay, so these two combined their work. Sorry about that. Let me change this to where. Okay, these two combined their work, and this is what started off what we know as the modern cell theory, right? So from these two gentlemen, uh, what happened is that we got part one of the cell theory, which is all living things are made of cells. And we also got part two, which stated that cells are the basic unit of life. Okay, so because of their studies and because of what they found out, they combined it together, and they came up with these two parts, right, of the cell theory. Okay. Then lastly, we had Rudolf Virchow, who discovered that cells come from pre-existing cells, which gave us part three, right? And it's exactly that, right? Cells rise from pre-existing cells. And then years later, right, we have learned as we continue to study cells, okay, and this one's been added where we have found out that cells take in energy to maintain life processes. So there's a quick review, combination of both, right? So we have the timeline and the cell theory parts within there. Um, and now I'm going to go ahead and show you your assignment. So for today, what you're going to be doing is, again, one of these stations, lab room. Just a reminder, guys, you can start in on any one of the stations as long as you click where it says click go. It's going to pull up the slide. You'll click on the slide, and then it will take you to that station. Remember to return back to the lab room. You click go back to the lab room, click on slide 1, and it will take you back to that lab room. And just another reminder, when we finish up, all you have to do is grab the shape, put it on the cutout or the shaded part, and that's just to kind of remind you that you're done with that assignment. Okay, so going through it all, watch it. Remember, it's just watching the video, answering the questions. Your answers are going to go here off to the side. Remember, there are already sentence stems there for you. You just have to finish off the thought. Read it. You're going to read through this. Okay. As you're reading, give me a definition or a brief description of who the person is or what the thing is, okay, for each one of these. Then you're going to answer 3 multiple choice questions. Remember, all you have to do is put A, B, or C. For Explorer, you're going to drag these on one of the sides. It's either living or non-living. Okay. Then you're going to explain it here. How did you determine that? How did you know that things were living? How did you know that things were not living? Okay. For part 3 of Explore It, you're going to have to read this little passage. And then you are going to list something that is around you that is made of cells, and then something that is around you that is not made of cells. For organize it, all you're going to do is drag the year to the correct spot. Illustrate it. Okay, some of y'all drew some things with the scribble tool last time. That's perfectly fine. Or you can, like I said, insert an image that kind of goes with one of these statements. And then assess it. Again, just a A, B, C answer for 1, 2, and 3. And assess it part 2, you're going to fill in the blanks with these words, right? And you'll be answering those here on this spot. Okay. All right, guys. If you have any questions, email me, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can.